Greetings and welcome to the Mount Rushmore podcast. My name is Jeff, and I'm joined, as always, by my good friends Richard.
Hello.
And Michael.
Howdy.
And this time around, we are going to honor those who don't get enough recognition, the silent heroes out there.
Can we play taps right now?
You know, taps is one of many bugle calls, and there's like hundreds of bugle calls.
Sure.
But we just know taps. There'd be like a million different
Yeah, the
ones.
other one is...
Yeah, reveille. Yeah.
And then whatever it is, the bugle you play when you're hunting a fox.
Or whenever the horse race is about to start.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
We got 4. Mount Rushmore of bugle songs.
Bugle
Done.
Good
Next
night,
topic.
everybody.
Call to the meal. What was that? Did I know it? That's a mealtime one. Okay. Greetings and welcome to the Mount Rushmore podcast. My name is Jeff, and I'm joined as always by my good friends Richard.
Hello.
And Michael.
Howdy.
Richard and Michael like to deliberate the most ubiquitous aspects of many given topics, and this time around it is unsung heroes. Michael, Richard chose it. Why?
No, I did.
Michael chose it. Richard, why did Michael choose it?
I think Michael was getting
Oh,
sick.
this is good. Why did I choose this
That's
topic,
a good
Richard?
question. I think you were getting sick of all the negativity of our topics. I had a stretch there where I was going with like real like dark shit. And oftentimes we talk about, even last week, we talked about people who overstayed their welcome. That's kind of a negative topic. I think you thought this was an opportunity to shine a positive light on people who have done good and deserve it.
I wish I love your version of me. I wish I was that generous. But can I break format, Jeff?
Yeah.
Can I go first?
Please.
Because I can't talk about why I chose this without saying the first thing that I chose.
Let's do it.
Is that okay?
Let's hear it
Yeah,
for
that's
the
fine.
unsung
Okay.
heroes. The
I will
format for it.
defer to the second half.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Love it. My first choice, and the reason that I chose this, is the kid that came up with Jingle Bells, Batman Smells, Robin Laid an Egg,
Oh, boy.
Batmobile broke its wheel, and the Joker got away. But it might not be that kid. It's the kid that heard it from that kid.
Oh.
Because this thing has spread like wildfire and
Yeah.
has been in existence for some reason, not necessarily written by whoever the kid is that came up with that put all of this together, or it's been modified over the years. God bless that child.
Yeah.
On some playground in probably the mid 60s. I read an article. I was like, I did the teensiest bit of research. And I guess a writer over at like crack.com tried to really delve in and find out where it came from. It seems that Southern California was a big place where this came in, probably because of the Batman TV show. And it especially seemed to indicate that it started to travel around because of all the different military families. So this thing came in, and this kid's nonsense song, and started traveling around to all these different places that people went and traveled around the world, because different versions of it would start to kind of pop up from the kind of mid 1960s onward. But I just love this idea that this silly thing has been in our child's, schoolyards for the greater part of 60 years now? Yeah. 70 years, 1960. I'm not doing the math right, but whatever it is, 60 something years. And it's one of those things that just, how did you learn it? I don't know. It's always been there. It's so simple. It's based on obviously Jingle Bells.
Yeah.
And just I love that I've taught it to my child. And maybe that's, we're in the Christmas season.
Yeah.
And I was like, Felix, watch this one. Because he knows Jingle Bells. And I was like, Jingle Bells, Batman Smell. And he's like immediately perked up. Combines two of his favorite things smelling. This kid's into farts right now. And Batman, loves Batman as his favorite superhero.
Yeah.
And then you sing the rest of it. And it's just one of those things where it's just like, God bless you, child, rotten playground child, and in the 6th grade that somehow, and then some other kid heard it and ran with it, and there you go.
That's cool.
I heard a variant of it. It was at a Shakespeare workshop, And I remember going around, it was like a circle. We were in a circle, and everybody was supposed to recite some Shakespeare. We were supposed to do some kind of technique that we hadn't done before. And there was a guy in that workshop wearing a black turtleneck and round glasses, like John Lennon glasses. And he was a little bit older. And I remember thinking, this guy's going to be fucking good. Like, I'm intimidated by him. He looks like a German, like, actor.
Like one of those guys that Mike Myers would make fun of in
Sprockets.
A Dadaist, Bauhaus kind of guy. And he did not say a word. He had just an intense look on his face. And it finally got to him. And he had a thick Southern accent. And he said, Batman and Robin had a Batmobile. Robin let a fart and it paralyzed the wheel. Like, I'd never heard that variant of it.
I love it.
He's not a German guy. He didn't know any Shakespeare. He just knew of Batman and Robin had a Batmobile. Robin let a fart and paralyzed the wheel. Do you know that incredible. I have a performance alter ego named Retro Batman, and we do a cosplay comedy, and all I do is recite the Jingle Bells Batman Smells. I do like a...
And people love it.
People love it. They fill in the blank, like Jingle Bells, and you hold up the microphone, everybody goes, Batman Smells. They fucking love it, and everybody knows it. You'll see people from all around the world. They all know the Batman Smells. So, okay. What do you got, Richard?
I went a complete opposite direction.
I love this. Mine are...
Okay.
Yours are going to be like just people who did weird little things, big things, kind of people who we don't know.
Hey,
yours is historically
truly unsung.
This is stuff for him to figure out. Don't put it on me.
All right.
I went with actual people. Actual
okay,
people out there in the world who deserve to be more well known than they are.
Oh God.
So my first one is Patsy Mink, who was the first woman of color ever elected to the U.S. House of Representatives and the first Asian American woman ever to serve in Congress. She was a congresswoman from Hawaii. And when Hawaii became a state back in 1959, she ran for Congress. Didn't win that time, but won the second time around, and I believe it was 1962. Started out her life wanting to be a lawyer, or wanting to be a doctor, actually, and faced discrimination about being a female and an Asian American, and decided that she would have better luck trying to be a lawyer. Wound up going to University of Chicago, getting her law degree, coming back to Hawaii where she was from, and she couldn't get hired on at any law firm or any law practice in Hawaii because of discrimination, because she was female and she was also married to a white guy. So it was a mixed marriage. So back in Hawaii in the 50s, this was like so she has started her own law firm.
Oh.
And wound up getting involved in politics and wound up doing things like writing the Title IX bill, which is the one that promotes equality, gender equality in schools, in sports, things like that. The Early Childhood Education Act and the Women's Educational Equity Act. Those are just some of the bills that she either championed or wrote during her career in Congress. And I had never heard of her before I started doing the research for this episode. And I don't know, and I wonder if it's because she's from Hawaii. I wonder if we don't recognize her as this trailblazing female politician. She even ran for president in 1972. Didn't do very well, but she ran. You think of people like Shirley Chisholm, who was the first black woman elected to Congress, and she's somebody a lot of people know, and rightfully so. But for whatever reason, Patsy Mink is someone who just kind of got lost to history. She's got these amazing accomplishments. And I was trying to figure out why she was an unsung hero. And that's the only thing I can think of, is just that, out in Hawaii, look, they're not really a state. We know they're a state, but they're not. They're Puerto Rico on steroids.
Okay.
At least that's I think that's the perception a lot of people have. So I just wonder if her achievements and her accomplishments weren't celebrated here in mainland America enough, because she was off 3,000 miles away from California, sort of toiling anonymously
Yeah.
and doing these amazing things.
Well, we got a president from there. I wonder.
Well, eventually, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
from Kenya?
Am I an idiot? Didn't Barack Obama live in Hawaii?
Yeah, he was
Yes.
born in Hawaii.
Okay.
Allegedly.
Oh gosh. Okay.
See, that's where I'm
he's
going.
doing it.
There's
Sorry,
the joke.
sorry,
I'm doing a Trump bit.
I think maybe if she had written, say a schoolyard poem about the Green Lantern or
That's true.
Wonder Woman,
Yeah.
flying in.
Well, though,
invisible plane.
I bet if you were to press, I bet you knew Jingle Bells Batman smells.
She probably.
Well, Hawaii, Pearl Harbor, big military
Oh yeah.
stuff happens on that on that island. It's the reason we have that island. So we have a military presence over in the.
Has Batman ever been to Hawaii?
I believe he.
I believe he has.
He fought the Pineapple Man once.
That's a great historical person that I didn't
Yeah,
know.
Absolutely.
look into her. It's a
I'm
fascinating story. So
Tremendously grateful to
if
find
nothing else, you will get 4 pretty interesting stories out of my picks, I think.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right, Michael, lower the standards even more. Okay.
Guess what? Straight down.
Taking the low road.
Oh, really low. My next unsung hero is the person that first came up with my name is blank, and I'm here to say,
Oh, okay.
as the person that has forever made it very easy for idiots to start rapping.
To start a rap. Okay.
I looked, someone asked, and I found like a Reddit thread about like, who was the first person to say, my name is blank and I'm here to say,
Yeah.
and this
Was
great,
it Rappin' Rodney? Rodney
no,
Dangerfield?
it was this,
Was it the answering machine message? Wait for the beep.
there was this great deviation in this thread that talked about the possible origins or what the origins are, where they talked about how MCs used to go out and they'd have to basically announce themselves, and like Cool Keith and all these different guys, these different rappers or MCs would go out and they'd start saying I'm Cool Keith and I'm from this town and whatever, and it was like the premise of it. But apparently the first person to ever say that thing that I just said was, my name's Barney Rubble and I'm here to say, and I couldn't believe it. I could not believe that the Fruity Pebbles, like this 1988 commercial of like Barney as the one, rapping Barney Rubble. This I'm sure a cartoon character voice done by one of like the same 7 people that do cartoon voices.
Oz Butler.
Whatever the guy that does like Megatron or Starscream.
Yeah.
Or, I can't remember. But I'll read a bit about it real quick. And it's just one of those things where it's just so dumb, and has made rapping so easy to be a dumb white guy. Just be like, my name is Michael, and I'm here to say I'm the coolest guy in the U.S. Like, say rhymes with everything. But he talked about skip down.
Barney Rubble.
Here, I'll just read this real quick.
By the way, there we go. This won't do any good to the listeners, but here's
Yeah.
a picture of Barney Rubble
Oh, yeah.
with LL Cool J Kangle on
Wow.
and mirrored glasses and a gold chain. Not cultural appropriation on any level.
He says, in this commercial, first for Fruity Pebbles, Barney Rubble of Flintstones raps, I'm the master rapper, and I'm here to say I love Fruity Pebbles in a major way. And I just couldn't believe it. I thought I was going to get some sort of like really... I thought I was going to figure it out.
Yeah, like it
That
would be
a real
Cool
person,
Keith did it.
That it wasn't...
Yeah.
That the version that I'm thinking of... Yeah, that it would be something really significant. But no, it's a goddamn cereal mascot.
Was there a Simpsons where Homer specifically
Yes.
spouted that, which is interesting because
Sometime later, because the Simpsons first started coming out, 89, 90?
it's very much patterned in a. It's almost like a satire of the
I guess he has a Mr. Plow rap.
Okay, yeah.
I'm Mr. Plow, and I'm here to say
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Plow, that's my name. That name again is Mr. Plow.
Sorry. I'm sorry. It's.
I love it.
We did bring it down,
I love it.
Rich.
That's all right.
I
It's
love
gonna
it.
keep getting. It's
Can we keep going down?
Well,
All right, here comes the rich with Billie Jean King or something.
maybe not. We'll see.
No, not Billie Jean King. She's not unsung. She's sung.
She's
Accurately. sung.
Literally, there's a song, Philadelphia Freedom, about Billie Jean King.
She's so sung.
My next choice is Tenzing Norgay.
Oh.
The
Wait, what?
That name sounds familiar.
This is two weeks in a row, is it?
No, I didn't talk about Tenzing Norgay last week.
Wait, why am I thinking he's the chocolate rain guy?
No, that's Zaytonde.
Oh, God, okay.
No, Tenzing Norgay was the Sherpa who helped Sir Edmund Hillary climb Mount Everest.
Oh, okay, good.
Boy, that was. Like
But there
me
was
to-
chocolate
that was
rain
like-
at the
that
top
was like
of-
me today with Felix on my shoulders, walking around the LA Zoo.
Oh, really?
Oh, going up to the aviary and just.
Oh,
like,
you walked the aviary with him
Yeah.
on your shoulders? Oh,
Wow.
My God. Oh, my God. No, Tenzing Norgay was a Nepali Indian Sherpa, who was known in the 50s as being one of the best Sherpas and wound up being hired by Sir
Yeah,
Edmund Hillary.
1957 Sherpa of the Year.
Yeah,
Got
and
it.
the Sherpies.
The Sherpies.
And
Biggest snowshoes goes to.
Tenzing Norgay, everybody. The band played him on. Do, 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 do.
Oh, I get certs. A year's supply of certs. Thank you.
And yeah, he did the 1953 did the reached the summit of Mount Everest along with Sir Edmund Hillary. Why I say he's unsung is A, you guys didn't know his name. B, you notice that one guy is a sir
Yeah.
and the other guy is not, and they both got up Mount Everest at the same time. I think there's something to be said for that.
Was he Edmund Hillary before that?
I think he was. I think he was
him getting to the top be like,
They gave him a whole new name.
Yeah, I think that's what happened actually. I remember reading an Onion article, and it was like a historical article about like the big headline was Edmund Hillary climbs Mount Everest, and then there was like a sub headline like also Sherpa climbs Mount Everest with 50 pounds of
Yeah.
Edmund Hillary stuff.
The Ginger Rogers of.
Yeah, doing everything in
Yeah.
heels and backward. Exactly. And I've always just wondered about him if he ever got bitter. He didn't seem to be. There, by all kind of contemporary accounts of him, he said that because there was some question about whether or not he got to the summit first or Edmund Hillary got to the summit first, and he always insisted, no, Edmund Hillary got to the summit first. Which, if that's me, I'd be like, no, I got there first.
Yeah.
I got my hand on there. Like King of the Mountain.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate game of King of the Mountain. You touched your hand on the top of it first. You got there first. You are King of the Mountain.
Wow. That's I feel like that name should be a moniker or like almost like a metaphor. You know, like just seems like the person who does as much work but gets zero
credit.
recognition.
Got
Yeah.
Norgay.
Yeah, you got Norgay.
Yeah, I could.
You got
I
Tenzing.
got Tenzing, dude. Yeah, and he spent the rest of his career either. He was the director of field training for the Himalayan Mountaineering Institute. He also was the first person to guide American tourists into Bhutan back in 1975 because before then they did not allow tourists into Bhutan.
Okay.
And his grandson is actually an actor who is on some like Disney Channel
Really?
series. Yeah, his name's like Tenzing Norgay Jones or something.
Wow.
Like that. I don't know what it is, but it's like Tenzing Norgay something or other.
Mm-hmm.
So just a really interesting person, and again, like you said, somebody who put in the effort and didn't get the rewards.
Yeah. Oh, that's fascinating. And it's not like who Buzz Aldrin was kind of sitting in the lunar lander, right, where Neil Armstrong gets to go out and
Somebody had to go
hop
first.
around the moon.
Right.
Yeah.
Poor
All right.
Michael Collins. Poor Michael Collins.
Yeah.
He was the guy who was in the
Okay.
stuck in the lunar module while Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong
Oh, okay.
gambled about on the moon.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Okay. Hey, halftime, bros. This is the time when I ask the audience to send us cash. I get my address will be read aloud, but it will be read aloud backwards during the end theme song. And at that point, please reverse the music, and then you'll hear me speaking forwards, and that will be my address. Please send cash.
Please send cash to Hop Jeffkins
Hop
on
Jefferson's,
Venmo.
yeah. We need it. Just plenty of cash, because the holidays are coming up. And then
Small bills, please, because he's going to the strip club.
quarters. This is a cheapy strip club. And then also do us a solid, download, rate, and review past episodes. It helps people discover the podcast and know how great it is, because it's an exceptionally good podcast. And then you could also share it on social media. That would be really cool if you just let one person know. That's a start, but then let about 100 other people know. That's a pretty good follow-up to that. We're back. And at this point, Michael is going to take the bar that was already very close to being on the ground and lower it.
No, I got a good one.
Okay, what? All right.
So I'm sure, as most of America and most of the world has been watching this, the Beatles Get Back project. The unsung hero really are the people that filmed this stuff back in 1970.
Yeah.
It's specifically, not necessarily the director, Michael Lindsay Hogg, but the person whose job it was just to fix a camera on Ringo Starr, just looking utterly like... just unmoved by anything any of these three like prima donnas are saying and doing at any time. He's just sitting there just watching all of them bicker over whatever, as like just the hours and hours there just must be of Ringo just like looking there being like just drumming with that little back brace and doing whatever.
He was likely very drunk or stoned in that time period.
Like I've loved watching. I think everybody has loved watching this for everything it does and says about the Beatles, from either confirming what they believe about Paul, like taking over, to John being just the footage of this film. And like I understand that like the original like kind of 2-hour movie Let It Be that came out, directed by Michael Lindsay Hogg, who I cannot.
Is there a more British name than Michael Lindsay Hogg?
I cannot see that name and not think of Sir Dennis Eaton Hogg, of course. But from this is Spinal Tap. But apparently, like the Let It Be movie, the first one was really like dour and showed them all in kind of like a bad light and like this. I haven't seen it, but this film just shows these, for the most part, really delightful friends. Like they're having their, they're working through their issues of making this album and working together, and George Harrison's having his thing. But how much of it is just like these long pieces of like fucking John Lennon goofing about, singing in silly voices.
Yeah.
And like seeing people just like, they're just having fun making an album at times, and just hours and hours of this stuff that's been captured. I mean, it's nothing to say that like, Peter Jackson makes just incredible choices in terms of like directing and choosing when to cut back and forth and show like these moments of like, I keep fixating on Ringo Starr because I think he's so fascinating as this person that's just not saying anything.
Mm-hmm.
All these other people are making decisions and talking and having their feelings hurt and leaving the band and being silly and goofy and making these decisions and being the dad in the room, and Ringo's just up there just looking around, and just endless shots of toast and marmalade.
Yeah.
What is going on in this fucking movie? Like the amount of footage that was just filmed and the people that were just milling about filming this thing. We don't need to talk about how great the music was and all the different things that go into it. What's amazing is just like this, it's just this archive of film about this one album and this one specific 30-day period.
Yeah.
That's wild. And just the people that managed to capture that, I think is just, I'll never know who were the people that were filming it, but
I think they list them in the...
maybe they do, but like, I think those are the people that really, I like archival stuff. I think is so interesting. Behind the scenes stuff is so interesting.
Yeah.
And it seems so, it's revealed a whole lot more than I thought I would. And it's just like, I just love seeing this.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet, which I know, being the Beatles guy here, is a little not
great.
a Beatles guy here,
It's
But
long.
It's
We
an
haven't finished.
investment,
I haven't
yeah.
finished it yet.
yeah, I that's my barrier on it. Is it just seems like a big investment.
Just
of time.
chug it. Just take it in chunks.
The one thing I've heard is that watching Paul McCartney write "Get Back" basically from nothing, and seeing the entire like way that the song goes from him just coming up with like a gibberish words and this like melody to like a fully fleshed song in like an hour.
And he's playing
something
bass.
like that.
He's
Yeah,
kinda, he's on bass when he's kind of jamming along.
right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I will definitely check it out.
It is funny learning that the Beatles had wanted to star in a live action Lord of the Rings, and with the length of these movies, it feels like we're watching them in the Lord of the Rings. There's so much to it, but yeah, there's one scene where after George departs, then John and Paul I think are trying to get George to come back. Now, there's one day where Ringo's the only person there. Like he shows up and he's there for a while before John. Like, what's he gonna do? Just play drums in the air? Like he's the only person there.
It's amazing. Just the footage of. I'm obsessed with just the footage of him just sitting around watching the three of these other guys
Yeah.
be these artists, and he's like, maybe it's rote, but it's just like he's just the guy that's there playing the beat. He's figures it all out. He figures out what the beat's gonna be for all the stuff, and he's just like. He's there. He's unflappable. Mm-hmm. And the reason they have this weird deadline, and it doesn't really spoil anything initially, was that because Ringo Starr was like...
He's going to go do the Magic Christian, right?
Yeah. He had like this film career and this studio stage set.
Yeah.
Like they had to film within like they had to make this album within these couple of weeks. Because of fucking some Ringo Starr movie that he had they were going to borrow the stage for a couple of weeks to do this thing. And it's just wild that is like the premise of when they were going to be like, okay, well, let's make a live album.
We got to do it before we would lose our least important member.
Very strange, but wonderful shots of toast.
There's a lot of good toast. And funny.
They eat a lot of toast and a lot of marmalade.
Ringo does.
What are they, Paddington?
Yeah. Ringo does make, it almost feels like Mel Evans is there to make Ringo look useful because Mal is the silver hammer guy.
You want to know who my third choice is?
Oh.
Mel Evans.
Mel Evans. Okay, all right.
So we'll roll right into that. Mel Evans, the Beatles road manager,
Yeah.
right-hand man, Girl Friday, whatever you want to call him. He was the fixer. He was the guy, if something needed to happen, it happened. Mm-hmm. What I understand from the Get Back movie is at one point, Paul McCartney says something like during Maxwell's Silver Hammer, the recording of it, like it would be great if we had an anvil in here. And they all go off to lunch and they come back an hour later and somehow Mel Evans has procured this anvil that he then wound up having to play because Ringo couldn't get the timing of hitting like something like he was too short or something and he wasn't strong enough to hit it or something. And Mel Evans was like this big burly kind of guy.
Yeah.
He is an incredible looking Muppet of a man.
He really is.
He looks like Judah Friedlander mixed with whoever the best friend is on I got to think of that. I'll come back to it, but go ahead.
Funny that Prince Valiant haircut. He almost seems like Andre the Giant a little bit around these guys.
Yeah.
That made me wonder. I believe Mal is short for Malcolm, but almost Maxwell could almost be Mal too.
Right.
And so he's got the bang bang Maxwell's silver hammer.
And he's just there. He's just part of this guy, him and Peter Aspinall or Neil Aspinall, who are just part of the Beatles lore for just sort of. I don't want to say hangers on because they served important functions within the Beatles. Yeah. And the Beatles probably would have fallen apart 5 years before if they didn't have someone like a Mel Evans to literally do everything.
And writing down lyrics.
Writing down lyrics.
And I mean, you'll be interested in just the writing process of watching this thing is how much is constantly changed. Like words are just like crossed out and he's the one that's like he's like going through and helping all of them like know exactly what they're changing from like line to line, how many times they're trying to figure out what JoJo is doing in Get Back. It's crazy.
Yeah, and he even, on A Day in the Life, I mean, he's the one who has the alarm clock. Yeah. During the countdown. And he's the one who's saying the countdown. Oh, is that right? 1, 2, the countdown
interesting.
as the music is building up to the big crescendo. And he actually is one of the people playing the piano at the very end.
Oh,
They have like 5 or 6 people each hitting a piano, and he's one of the 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And he has cameos in all of the Beatles movies, like Get Back and not Get Back, but like Help and
Is that right?
Hard Day's Night. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in there. Like in Help, he's like the channel swimmer who keeps getting
oh, really?
popping up in really weird places.
Wow.
Yeah, so they gave him little fun stuff to do. And I think it just goes to show that I don't know who. I'm sure the Rolling Stones have or had somebody like a Mel Evans type. I don't know who it was. There's something about the Beatles mythology
Yeah.
that you just wind up knowing these sort of fringe people, and they take on a life of their own.
Yeah. There was a story. The Beatles had such an kind of a. I know the long hair and stuff seemed a little bit anarchic at the beginning, but then they had developed somewhat of a squeaky clean image in comparison to bands like the Stones, to the point where when they did tour in the U.S. and maybe there's other places, people presumed that they would like to, after the show, have a meet and greet with disabled people. And the Beatles would come back to their dressing room, and it would be filled with people in wheelchairs. And they would have to say, "Get rid of these people, Mal."
Right.
And so Mel Evans would just have to know the Beatles don't want to talk to you. Have to roll people out of their dressing room.
Wild.
That
Yeah,
was
he
kind of
even discovered or was helped discover a band called the Ivies,
Oh,
who wound up becoming Badfinger.
is that right? Oh,
And he actually wound up producing. I'm going to look this up. I believe it's "Come and Get." Not maybe it was. Was it "Come and Get It"? I want to say that's it's one of the 2 big Badfinger songs. And he wound up producing that, even though he wasn't a musician or anything like that. He just had soaked up enough production knowledge from being around the Beatles for all those years that he was able to
that's interesting.
pull that off. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. For a group that had many kind of fifth Beatles, and even like with Billy Preston coming in there and kind of injecting some excitement into all of their. Billy Preston almost seems like the kid that you would, if you knew your parents were going to be mad at you, you'd bring this kid home with you, to kind of take the heat off.
Who could get mad at
Yeah.
him? No matter what. It was no matter what, not "Come and Get It."
Okay.
For the record.
Okay. So cool. Beatles side run there, and Michael Winfield. What's the last?
Well, when I selected to Get Back sort of nonsense, I realized I had done 3 music things, and I was like, I'm just going to stay with music. I was like,
Yeah.
I accidentally stumbled upon that, and I thought, oh, what is a thing that is really just benefited me my entire just about life, and is the person that invented the idea of shuffle on like a music player. Like whenever the music CD came out, and that turned into like shuffle as a thing within like my music library on my iPhone, or when like Emily and I are like watching like music videos, except that for whatever ungodly fucking reason, the YouTube app, like on the Apple TV, doesn't have shuffle. It drives me fucking crazy.
Oh.
I don't know why. It's on my phone.
Sure.
It works, but the shuffle feature is one of those things where it takes the music that you want to listen to and just kind of reconfigures and reshapes it in a way that makes it kind of refreshing again.
Yeah.
I know that bands at least used to make a lot of effort to have music played in a certain order.
Yeah.
And I know sometimes I listen to a song and something tails off and into one song and tails, kind of leads back in. A couple of like Death Cab songs that I really like do that. But the shuffle feature is just one of those weird things that, like, someone just decided, oh, we can do this now. Like, you couldn't do this with a tape before. You couldn't do it with an LP. You didn't just skip around automatically. I'm sure with an LP you could, choose. You'd have to count out the different ridges or however the different sections. With the tape, you'd have to, no one was sitting there and fast forwarding and then also rewinding, going back and then going. You couldn't flip over the tape. It just didn't happen. But all of a sudden with a CD, and then the CD player had like just that little shuffle thing, and you could just jump around to whatever. It's such a weird little thing that it's just the way that I listen to music. If I'm playing music through my stereo in my car, I have to make sure it's on shuffle. If I'm like listening to just music in general, not like an entire album. And even though my car is really fucked up, I plug in my phone and it always starts with a politician stance, that A song from Belle and Sebastian. It used to be A Punk by the Gorillaz, until I removed that song because I could not hear it as the first song that I plugged in my phone any longer. It was like and it would only play things in alphabetical order, which is a weird sort of shuffle in its own right. Nobody listens to songs alphabetically, but it's just this one thing that's like, oh, whoever thought that they would just be like, oh yeah, by the way, we could do this. And then ever since it's on CD players and everything, I thought, oh, well, this is...
It seemed like it gave you your collection back, or it gave you...
Yeah, I could listen to everything in some random... Like, it's almost like listening to radio, because you don't know what's going to be played on a radio, in theory. I guess if you program at a radio station,
right?
You have some sort of knowledge. But, like, it's just... I don't know. I love the shuffle feature, especially with, like... Like I said, with, like, music videos. It's almost the thing you want when you're, like, trying to choose something to watch at night. Like, if you're trying to watch Netflix, but you're sitting there and you're looking at these titles and you're like, I kind of want to watch this. I just want someone to choose something for me and play it.
Yeah.
And I want to quickly be able to get to the one that, next one. Just play, just start playing it. Let's see if next one.
Yeah, it does take some of the pressure off, and it does take some of the responsibility of picking a song out, and it's reflecting your ego back to you in a very novel way.
Yeah. I want to hear what I want to hear.
Yeah.
But I don't know what I want to hear until I hear it.
That's a fun choice. Okay. Manfredi.
All right, my last choice is Maurice Hilleman, who is probably the most successful vaccinologist in history.
Oh.
Not
topical.
No, slightly.
And invented the mayonnaise that we all
love. He did. It's so stupid.
Sorry.
It's
Did I get that wrong?
Dumb. I love it. He developed over 40 vaccines in his career and is credited with saving nearly 8 million lives each year.
Wow.
Just through his vaccines. He worked for Merck, but developed vaccines for them. There's like the vaccine schedule that you like the kids are on and you're on. There's 14 different vaccines. He developed 8 of them.
Wow.
He developed the measles, mumps, hepatitis A, hepatitis B, chickenpox, meningitis, streptococcus pneumonia, and Haemophilus influenzae.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
He did all right for himself.
8 of 14. I mean, that's putting up numbers.
That's
those are Hall of Fame. The immunization Hall of Fame numbers. That's first ballot.
Bang, put it on the board.
Yeah.
Type stuff. And his career is like fascinating because when he graduated from college, everyone told him to go into like the academic side of things. And he said, no, I'm going to go into the pharmaceutical side of things because that's where I think I can really help people and develop things. And he did. He actually developed the Mumps vaccine because one of his kids had mumps. And he was able to get a sample of the throat culture from her and took it back to his lab and started working on it.
Wow.
And used his younger kid as one of the test subjects for the mumps vaccine.
Wow.
Like, it's just a really fascinating story. And yeah, like you said, Michael, this is slightly relevant in today's sort of age. I just wonder if there was somebody like him today, if there was out there coming up with, the COVID vaccine, the guy who created the COVID vaccine had also created like a vaccine for cancer or something like that. It would be like that.
Oh yeah.
Would he be hailed as a hero? Or would there be 40% of the population that would think that he's working for Bill Gates?
No.
Oh yeah.
It's depressing to think about. But, someone whose contributions to modern society. I mean, nobody gets mumps anymore. Nobody gets measles really anymore. I mean, I know there was a couple outbreaks a couple of years ago because dopey parents aren't getting their kids vaccinated. Sorry if you don't vaccinate your kids if you're listening, but it's a dopey thing to do. Hot take here. Get me on the hot seat, Jeff. But, I mean, just somebody who, like I said, 8 million lives a year. That's pretty good. That's pretty good when you can actually quantify how many lives that you saved each year. That looks good on a resume.
Yeah.
You can put that on your LinkedIn, and you're going to get some hits.
Yeah. Yeah. What'd you do at your last job? Why'd you leave your last position? The laboratory was riddled with viruses.
Mumps everywhere.
Mumps everywhere. I had to leave that place. I can't fix them all. Do you think I think Pokemon. He's like, I got to get them all. I got to catch them all.
Got to catch them all, yeah.
All those viruses. Let's go with Patsy Mink, just so we have a woman on the board. Was she the only female? Okay. Let's go with Mel Evans. I felt like he was much commented on. Jingle Bells, Batman Smells.
Yeah,
because
it's a
now
clear
I know
winner.
there's a winner there. There's good stuff there. And I can't not mention a Beatles, so Ringo. And Linda McCartney says in that, she says, yeah, I feel most relaxed around Ringo. Paul makes me uptight, I'm sure.
Paul's a lot.
Paul's a lot to deal with. And he won't let me eat a steak. I just want to eat a steak. All right, this has been the Mount Rushmore of, and I'd like to thank this tape recorder is for being the unsung hero of this. I guess it's a digital record of this podcast. My name is always Jeff.
I'm Richard.
I'm Michael.